Happy Friday, everybody. Today is Friday, July 25th, 2025. I'm Sweets. This is Sid, and this is our Friday weekly recap where we talk about everything we've shipped this week in Recoup, and we start priming ourselves for next week so that way we can keep these sprints going week over week. To kick it off, we'll start how we always do. I'm going to ask Sid in one word, how are you feeling today? And in one sentence, what do you need today?
I'm feeling cracked out. I drank like 3 coffees this morning. And so I'm a little jittery. Um and what do I need? I think I need to chill out.
Want what you don't have when you
Yeah.
feel tired, you want to feel amped up. When you're amped up, you want to chill out.
How about you?
I'm feeling full. Life is good. And what do I need? I need people to test the V5 migration so that I know if we're good to ship on Monday or if there's anything blocking us from updating us from AI SDK V4 to V5.
Fire. I like it. Very
Do you have
clear.
any jumping off places where you would like to start?
No, let's dive into what was done this week.
Cool.
I can start. You can start. What do you want to do?
You offered you start, you start.
Let's do it. All right. I will quickly run through email and the main things. Eric, email. Okay, cool. Share my screen. Fire screen. I just have this little notepad, so make it more real. All right. So this week, a lot of this week was focused on onboarding. So I onboarded a company called 24 Management. Let me pull up their website so we can make it real. All right, cool. Onboard 24 Management. They have a roster of about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about probably 10 or 11 people. A lot of it is producers and writers as well as artists. So I set them up and they're ready to go. I also told them to add their card for the pro account, and then I'll refund their first month so that they have the first month. So they are in free trial, and we have their card. If they continue to use the platform, then they will be paying customers. So that's great to go. The next person I onboarded is 33 Tigers. Now, this is what's crazy. Okay, so this is how fun this is. Latasha told her management company to get onto the platform last week. I onboarded them. They still haven't used the platform. They haven't had a chance to try it yet. But they referred the platform to 24 Management without ever using it. So I thought that was really interesting. Latasha never used it. They never used it. Then they referred me to 33 Tigers. They still haven't used it yet. 33 Tigers is this company, which is like another artist services company. But fun fact, they manage Alanis Morissette. So I'm a fangirl. They have tons of artists, but we're going to start with a couple. And big roster. And then, so that was like 4 word of mouths without ever trying the product, which makes me feel like we're in a great positioning, brand positioning of like AI agents for the music industry, because we're the only ones that are positioning like that, and people want to share and be like ahead of the cycle, even without trying the product, which is really fun and interesting. So I'm taking all of this with a grain of salt, because the part of me wants to be like, yay, word of mouth. But then like the other part of me is like, is this true word of mouth if they're sharing it for the right reasons? And I'm trying to figure out how to separate that signal. And then the other thing that I did this week was I had a great call yesterday with Rostrum Pacific, who we originally talked to about the distribution agents for migrating their catalogs. Benji, the CEO, got back to me, I think a month later, after receiving scheduled action reports every day from his artists and forwarding them to his team, saying, hey, I keep getting these reports. I keep forwarding them to my team. Let's get my team onboarded onto Recoup. Let me know the costs. So I told them it's $99 an artist for what they're trying to do when it comes to like scheduled actions. And I onboarded their team yesterday. Or at least I had an onboarding call with them yesterday. They were blown away by the product, or at least in the call, it seemed like that, asking questions about content creation, et cetera, and scheduled actions. So this rest of the day today is me onboarding the artists that they request, and then setting up another call with them next week to kind of review and make sure we're all good and set up there. The final three things is I had a call with Steph. I sent you the video of it. It was great because the first half of it was me trying to set up her artists with YouTube. We set up 4 or 5 of her artists and then realized the issue with why she can't connect the rest of her artists, which is because it's coming from her YouTube account. So we need to decide if that's something we want to spend time on, is figuring out how Steph could get all of her artists connected, if that's even possible. The next thing is I got an email from Sam. These are all power user emails and calls and contacts. So Sam emailed me an API key for his labels chart metric account, because he wants to use that to help his reports give better data. So this is the first kind of iteration of a account wants to use a third party and their API keys to enhance Recoup's capabilities. So we have to talk through that. And then lastly, Eric emailed me a list of all of his requests about the product. That was last week, or no, over the weekend. And I believe we talked about it on Monday, but just to reiterate, a lot of it was around saving emails that are sent so that when he's doing brand outreach, it doesn't hit up the same people all the time. Customization with the email drafts so that he doesn't have to continuously prompt the email, prompt the agent every time for small changes. He can just edit the email himself. And then like lightweight CRM requests, which is just like, did somebody open the email, running a test before recommending an email to see if it's actually live, things like that. All right, those are my main updates this week. It was a week full of onboarding. Any questions or anything you want to dive into, or you want to dive into what you did?
How has the needle been moved towards your 2 goals of 45 survey users and 1 enterprise customer as a result of the work you've done this week?
Focusing on users that were referred to us. My hope is that they will move directly into the product market fit survey category by me just kind of hand holding their onboarding and then like checking in every 2 weeks, because that user base requires logs in once every 2 weeks, or no, logs in at least once within the last 2 weeks. So basically, yeah, at least once every 2 weeks. So I'm just going to try to keep these new users. It's 2, 4, 10 to 15 we'll say 10 new users um, from this week, and like 3 or 4 from last week, that I can now move towards the product market fit survey ready. And those are the onboarding calls. The second question you said is, how does it help move the needle to enterprise customers? The 3 power users that we're tracking that sent, or that I talked to this week, or have been communicating with via email, are most likely to help us get to the enterprise customer. So whether it's Steph pushing us up the chain to 1 RPM, Sam pushing us to Warner UK, but getting them to a place where they're like, yes, I can take this and like say it adds enough value. Let me go championing it in the building. So yeah, we're on the right track. I think it was a great week, actually.
So in terms of enterprise, the current people you're thinking will be highest probability are 1 RPM in Warner?
And Benji, which I onboarded this week, but I need to see, which is
Rostrum.
Which is Rostrum, exactly. But I'm leaning towards, I don't know. We need to play with the pricing models, and based on usage. But I think like once we get V5 working and API or error rate limit errors down, that should be our next focus. Is in the event somebody wants to pay for more than one account, what are the tiers? How do they add the credit card information and to pay us like that? Or is that something that I should just continuously do manual until we have an overload of those people? And then if so, then like, how do I just send them like a Stripe link on the side? You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So my next question was going to be, what is the next step into getting one of those 3 to convert to a 5K per month? And if I heard, you've already answered that with immediate is V5. Step after V5 is reduce rate limit errors, reduce general errors in the chat, reduce scheduled action errors so the product just works and people aren't getting frustrated. And then after that, roll out pricing model for usage-based pricing.
Pricing model for usage-based pricing, as well as, correct, usage-based pricing, as well as subscription-based tiers. But I guess it's the same. It's like, yes, usage-based pricing.
Cool.
Let me simplify it.
Cool. Okay.
Sweet.
I think that's the most important one. 45 survey users we can pull up. I'll start there by pulling up the board. You happy on your side? Are there other things you wanted to cover right now?
I am great on my side.
I'm glad you're taking those calls. I think that they're important, and you're focusing on enterprise level people, which is more impactful to get us where we want to go than me focusing on smaller independent artists. Let's see if this data loads.
It's been really slow lately. I got to refactor this backend. I think it's because of the just changes that I made.
Doing a whole lot of queries.
So many, bro.
I believe it. Let me see if I still have the number written down. Where were we at last week to this week? Okay. Last week we were at 5 YouTube connects. The goal was to get to 7. We are now at 10. 7 connected humans, 10 connected accounts.
Great.
Across 7 humans. So 10 connected accounts across 7 humans, 3 from Steph. I think you had said 5.
Yeah, I thought she connected more, but maybe I was incorrect.
So either this still might not be tracking right, or if it is tracking right, then The number was lower than you had thought. In any case, we are now at 7 humans and 10 connected accounts, which was Veerball's original goal was 2. We have now exceeded that goal for YouTube Connects to measure success.
Great.
So from the cycle we did 2 weeks ago, we had set the goal to get 7. We have now reached that goal. Segmented actions. I had set the goal of get to 11 humans and 77 actions. We have been at 11 humans for a while. We are now at 13, so we've grown another 2 humans this week. I believe those were both from me manually onboarding Duodo and Soul. Number of actions, last week we were at 15, now we are at 17, so likely we haven't, it seems like the number has not grown too much week over week. If they were 2, those were likely the 2 that I manually set up during my call. So the only new scheduled actions that have come about have been from me manually onboarding musicians on calls. We have still not, well, we've hit the number of humans goal. I have the number of actions goal I have at 77. We are still a factor of 7 away, a little bit under factor of 7 away from getting there. Between a factor of 4 and a factor of 5 is how far away we are from that number goal. My intention was to set it incredibly high, but we're pretty far away from it. From there, I'll pause and ask a question of, the goal was to use this to measure if the goal was to put these metrics in place so that we know whether or not we are feeling successful. We've hit the goals. So regardless of how we feel emotionally, we set the goal, we achieved the goal, we are making progress, and the YouTube feature is successful. The human goal on segments is hit. The number of actions was not hit. What's the question I want to ask from here? I would like to learn what is the iteration for me being the controller of success metrics for new features? What did you, how are my success metrics that I've been setting up aligning with your goals of getting a 5K per month enterprise customer?
How are they aligning?
Or is it not important that they align? Are they totally unrelated with no need for them to overlap?
I think they are aligned. If I could reflect on the goals, I think that iterating faster, or this is just my thought processes, but I could be wrong here. I'm just going to brain dump. We set the goal of segmented actions halfway through your build, or right before your build. We built it and we realized that segmented actions is blocked by rate limit errors. And so in order for you to hit your goal, you also now have to achieve another goal of rate limit error reduction. And so my question back to you is, is it okay to add us? How do you feel? I guess let's remove emotions. Is it beneficial to add a sub goal now that we've learned that we need to hit one before we can achieve the other one, of reduce rate limit errors by X in order to hit Y of segmented actions? Or should we just pivot our goal when we learn that there's a blocker and then 100% focus on the new goal and the blocker goal?
Your latter feels more like how I generally approach climbing a mountain, which is the mountain peak is really high. In order for me to get to that peak, I need to get to this sub point that I've set. And so I just focus on the sub point. It's a goal that feels more attainable. And then don't understand that is on the path of the greater goal, but stop focusing on the top of the mountain and focus sincerely and with all of your energy on the next point where you'll take a rest, take a drink of water, and then reassess, okay, here's the broader goal that we still need to hit. Is there another sub goal that we want to measure, or are we now at a place where we just set the top of the mountain as where we're trying to go? So I think pivoting the goal is a more effective way for us to keep moving the ship towards the end horizon.
Amazing. So let's start doing that. I think if anything, that's what we learned this week is goals are okay to move and pivot and like put the main goal into either a backlog or an epic when we realize like, oh, there's 3 other things we need to do before we can hit our main goal. Metaphorically put it in a backlog or epic, not like literally on a ticket, but you get it. Because
Cool.
yeah, like I think beneficially, like you coming into this call less focused on like I didn't hit. Less focused on I didn't hit my goal of scheduled actions, and more focused on like I didn't hit my goal of scheduled actions because I need to reduce rate limit errors this week. Rate limit errors need to be reduced by X in order for me to do Y. Like not focus on the old goal or the higher peak. And then the second question I want to ask you is, how are you currently tracking rate limit errors? Do you trust this user leaderboard? If not, what do we have to do to make it trustable? Or is your current way of tracking fine and we don't need to make any changes on the leaderboard?
My current method of tracking is finger in the air in the Telegram chat of I open up the Telegram chat, I check it, what shows for me is 4 a.m., which is 5 a.m. Eastern time, when we have a whole bunch of segmented actions, a whole bunch of scheduled actions, and then I check how far do we get down the list before we start getting rate limit errors. And the number has not changed because the segment actions haven't changed and our rate limit hasn't changed. We haven't shipped anything that would enable it to change. So it's the same segmented scheduled actions every day, no change in the tech stack. The scheduled actions in those errors have not changed. Do we need a better method of tracking it so that we can so that it is not a vibe check of the Telegram? Is the Telegram chat a sufficient way to measure the errors in just observing whether or not they occur in a binary, yes, they're still there, or no, they're not there? Or do we need a more quantifiable metric tracking to see the improvement day over day, week over week in a much more quantifiable way instead of I see it there, it's a binary, yes, no? Do you have any
Can you
go ahead?
thoughts? Can you
Yeah,
pull up the Superbase errors logs table? Because that's a better source of truth than the API or than the admin dashboard currently.
What's it called?
Error logs. And this is tracking every error as it comes from Telegram or like along with Telegram.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing my best to parse, and I think it's doing a decent job to parse the type of error message and the error type. Although I realized that there were some anomalies because this is also including testing, and it doesn't seem like it's tracking user ID. It's tracking last message, which I should be able to link to the user ID. But that's what it's not tracking. So because of that, I'm not able to filter out, or at least on this, I'm not able to filter out by test emails. I'm doing it via API. I'm doing it via API on the dashboard. But I just want to like talk this out with you because how can we make this more of a trusted source of truth for errors? Is it something that I should make an errors tab instead of trying to like link it all together and do all of the queries at the same time in the admin dashboard. So we just make a specific thing for errors. I want to be able to track errors more robustly and make it easier for you to see week over week. Is errors going up or errors going down based on what features are being shipped? And so like what would that UI ideally look like for you? What things would you like it to track? What would make a pleasant experience for you to be like, let me go here to track my errors?
This is not terrible for me. While you were talking, which was less than 5 minutes, I was able to change the query to the past 24 hours, add in failed after 3 attempts, and now I have more or less 61 records of 61 errors in the past 24 hours. And I can write that down and say, we've had 61, more or less 61. This is including a couple more that are not related to a rate limit, but more or less a simple query. We query it one time, and we don't have to worry about continuing to run that query or you building it into the dash. This is fine tracking for me, is just
Perfect.
go right into Supabase, go into this table, and then run this query on Friday. I've written it down in my notebook of 61. So we can come back and check this next week and see, are we still at 61? What is the change from 61 per day?
All right, I love it.
Is that sufficient for you as well, or do you think
that's
sufficient for you?
I think it's sufficient, yeah, because it also allows us, like, whether it's test emails or not, or test accounts or not, like we should still be reducing rate limit errors.
Yeah. The goal is none. The goal is to not have it at all. Goal is to get it to 0, because Claude, if you go to Claude's UI or ChatGPT's UI, you don't. It's not a thing.
Correct. Agreed.
So other things that have been shipped, Veerball has been focused on segments. Let me go through. Let me try to remember mine first. My big one is V5, which is in review, and the goal is to ship it on Monday. And so the most important question is, what is blocking us? What do we need to test? Or what feedback have you already given me that I have not seen, which is blocking us from shipping this on Monday and continuing to iterate with V5 as our production app?
I sent you 2 things. Did you see them in Slack?
I have seen that you sent them. I have not watched them yet.
Okay, so the main one is, and if you go to the production, I can just show you the issue right now on live. Do you want me to show you? Okay, cool.
Unless you want me to share, can I recreate it?
Yeah, you can. Let's try it, because that'll make it even more verify it even better.
Go to the production chat app.
Go to production and then go to and then have another tab that is V5.
It's not easy for me to get there. Let me see if I can find it in Slack. Go to Recoup, close out of cursor, make sure I don't have anything open. Did I send it to both of us?
Send it
Can
to
you
me.
please test?
Yeah, I think it's there.
Let me show more tester. Okay. Not the easiest link, which adds friction to you and others testing it. Now, what would you like me to ask?
Okay, so this one, go to an artist that you know has a knowledge base, or actually, go to agents.
I have a knowledge base.
Perfect.
I'm connected on both. Something I've seen is on preview domains, my PFP doesn't show up, but on product does. Go to the agents tab on both.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then run boost your merch sales on both. It seems like on V5, anything other than initial chat is not considering artist account ID. So if you go into the reasoning of this one, it should say, I don't have an artist ID. And then if you do that for every agent tab, I tried it like 3 or 4 different ones. It all has the same response. I don't have an artist ID. So it seems like, but if you ask who is the artist or do the same prompt from the initial chat window, it does find the artist ID. Try a couple more, so because it'll give you different feedback and reasoning, and a lot of the times it'll say specifically what it's missing.
Okay, so the first one got reasoning, got text, tool call, response.
And
V5,
go to the
we got reasoning, response, asking for more info, did not give us
like specifically go up to the reasoning of the working one and press production and click reasoning and say analysis of the trade. Nice genre. Okay, so all right, so it doesn't. All right, let's try one more, just so we have a couple different versions. Go to a new chat on both V5 and prod, and then do just click another, create viral content ideas, and then try it there, and then look at the reasoning.
It's about the same on both. Share your artist name. I don't know who your user's artist. I don't have active artist account ID. This one, yes. Okay.
Now, if you go to initial, okay, so now let's try another variation of this. Go to new chat for both. And if you click,
this is a bug I saw during Soul's chat. If you try to go to new chat while it's still thinking, it keeps showing you. You gotta like refresh the page and then it takes you out.
Okay, so now instead of clicking agents, click a scheduled action at the bottom. And then it's the same thing for this. See which artist.
What artist would you like?
Exactly. Now, you can see this one found it. So that's the biggest thing that I noticed, is that it's not finding account artist ID for anything other than if you type in the initial chat box on initial chat. So if you create a new chat for both of these, and you type in the like in the text box, who is my artist, it does find the artist account ID here.
Artist account ID. Artist responds. Interesting. And new chat is on /chat. Is that's where we did it from? Is on /chat. Do it one more time. I can see the artist account ID, custom instruction and knowledge base. It sees it all. If you type in the box, it sees it all and it works fine. But now let me check one more just on root domain. So the question is what I would like to write down is, let's send it here. Who's my artist? Who's my artist? On root domain, is it still working? Based on the system prompt, active artist ID, I should use this ID. Okay, so it's only, and now one more test. Let's see if I copy and paste the prompt. I don't want to keep setting up scheduled actions. If I copy the prompt, our genre, but I don't have specific info. Now let's go to the main page, refresh, and see if I send the prompt in if it's different. So I manually sent it. First, I need to understand sweetman.eth, then research based on the information. Okay, now it's doing the same thing that happened on prod. It searches the web. After web search, it should give us the response. So what that's telling me is that our Q param, for some reason, is not working. When you click on a button or you use an agent, we use Q equals and then the prompt, and that allows you to copy and paste a link, and then anybody can start the same chat. It's also what we use for agents. It's also what we use for the prompts at the start. So that seems to be what is not working. What is the question I write down that helps me to orient the solution? Why our agent, why is Q? I think I can make it specific. Why is Q param failing to pick up the system prompt? Or I'll keep it more generic with system prompt because it's
artist account ID. It's not picking up.
Make it more specific with the artist account ID.
And then the question also is, or here's a second question. When you were sharing it with me, you had mentioned something like, oh, for some reason it's not finding, or it's not selecting the artist when I was sharing chats with you. And so it also seems like this issue is affecting when you share URLs. In prod, when I share a URL, it adds that artist account ID to the user's account, and then selects that artist and shows that. On your version, I don't think it does that, and I want to ask, should we test that, and how can we test that right now? Because that doesn't include the Q param. So I don't know if that'll give us more insights into the actual problem.
Do you have beautiful chorus?
No.
I will send this to you in our Slack DMs. You mind taking over screen share?
Yeah, let me do it. And also send me the same thing for prod, like an artist on prod, and we can see what happens there as well. I don't know if it's the same artist, but let's do screen share, entire screen share. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yep, we got it.
Sweet. All right, dropping in this chat. Oh, why is it not up? And so there, it didn't auto select the artist.
It did add it. And I think that's the same thing that happens in prod.
Wait,
you have beautiful chorus right there.
Where? So it added it, it just didn't auto select it.
Correct. And I believe that's the same as what's happening in prod. Because when I sent you that bug, I was testing on prod.
Oh, were you? Can we check?
Yeah, I'll give you a new one. Do you have Forello?
No.
Getting the chat, got it on prod, send the prompt, copy the chat link, send you the prod chat link. It is still thinking. I'm going to wait till it stops thinking before I send you, before I hit send. to make sure we're testing the same on both. Searching the web. Taking a while to search. Okay, just got web results. Responding. Yada, yada, yada. Still responding. Still thinking, not seeing any streams on the screen.
You want to know something fun while we wait?
Hmm.
I sent the album. Benji sent the album to his A&R team and didn't say that it was AI, and the A&R team was like, "Yo, this girl is amazing. How can we meet her? We want to sign her."
Interesting.
Isn't that great?
Okay, sent you the link.
All right, perfect.
Come back to see if you're still sharing. You are.
So let me pull this link.
Did you tell Benji it was AI?
Yeah, I did. But I was like, send it to your team and don't just be like, "Hey, what do you think of this girl?"
Hmm.
All right, here is this. And then
You're not logged into anything.
no, it's wait. It should be logged in. Oh, maybe because it says I just logged into the other one. Should have been logged in on this one. All right, so this one shows me
Pharrell should be in the F section, but I don't see them. Yeah, it's the same on my version on V5 as well as here. If you scroll down in the Fs, there's Pharrell. You already passed him.
Let me see EF. Let me see the E. Oh, there it is. Yeah, okay.
Yep, same thing. No change between prod and this branch.
Interesting. All right, so that's not a V5 issue. Okay.
Correct.
All right, good.
So the question is, why is the Q param failing to pick up the artist account ID while manual chat does? That is a much more specific thing for me to focus on than it never worked, which I wasn't able to recreate. So now I understand it's the Q param specifically that for some reason is not including the system prompt. So I'll debug that. Other than that, what other things did you run into that are blocking us from shipping this on Monday?
Nothing else is blocking us that I found. I'll continue to test it throughout the weekend. The thing I didn't test thoroughly is scheduled actions and send emails, but I tested it lightly and it worked. So the biggest one was the Q brand and it not recognizing the artist. There's little tiny things, but I don't know if it's in prod or not. Can you share your screen? Do you have an artist that has comments connected or posts connected, or segments or whatever?
Yeah, artist with segments.
Yeah. Can you
You want to check V5 or on prod?
V5. I just want to show you this, and then we can check it on prod, but I want to show you the error I saw on V5. Go to chat with an artist that has segments and ask for to show one of the comments. Show me my fan comments, or one of them, whatever. I just need to see the UI of the comment tool. Okay, perfect. Click one of the comments. And then click the profile button. And that goes to a 404 on my end.
Yep, both on prod and on this branch.
Okay, cool. All right.
Let me demonstrate. Yeah, I saw that, and part of me wanted to prioritize it, and then I was like,
I don't know how many people
I don't know if you saw, but the issue is this person's profile does not begin with HTTPS, and none of the social profiles do in Supabase. And so we try to href to this URL, but because it doesn't start with HTTPS, it thinks it's a subdomain of where they already are. And so it's just appending their profile URL to the chat URL instead of actually opening up Instagram. It's opening up Recoup. And so what it needs to do is this should have opened up to this URL, https:// this URL, which is the profile of the person. But instead it's opening up Recoup. So it's a bug that we do need to fix.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I couldn't I couldn't recreate it on my end because I couldn't get comments
because Apify.
But like another question, I guess. Actually, no. Wait, let me finish that. Everything else, I think I'll continue to test little things, but it seems like everything else is working, and it's just little tiny bugs here and there that are also in prod. The question is, once we ship this, how do we reduce rate limit errors? Or is that all next week?
The goal is to get this out the door ASAP, because this is the big blocker for a lot of stuff. Vercel is focusing their dev efforts on V5. They're not doing more support for V4. All the new features that they're shipping and all the benefits are going to come from this mental model shift. Just closing this loop. We're on prod chat.recoupable.com. You click profile. It is the same thing. We go to chat.recoupable.com/chat/profile, which should be a 404 page, because this page doesn't exist.
All right. That was feedback number 2. So let me go delete that from Slack.
So once we get onto V5, we're then at the latest version of the AI SDK with all their new bells and whistles. The main net new feature we get is gateways. To share for everybody that's not familiar with Vercel gateways, this is a product that they released. Let's see when the blog was titled. In May of 2025, so 2 months ago, they released this. It's only available in the AI SDK V5, and it allows you to, before, this is what we do. We set stream text. We plug in, actually, this is the new way, because usually we prefix this with XAI, and then the model name inside of there. But now you just put in the model, and then this is going to default to using the Vercel AI gateway. And so we get rate limits right now, but products like Cursor do not get rate limits. You can use a product like Cursor all day long, and you're never going to hit a rate limit on Claude. And so my hypothesis is the rate limits exist on non-enterprise customers. Once you become a gateway, you have then set up a proxy service so that anybody using it on our side is relaying through a proxy, and that proxy is dealing with all the rate limits, all the enterprise payments, everything, so that we always get back a response, and we are not dealing with we're not using an Anthropic API key. We are now using Vercel API key, and Vercel then swaps in a Grok API key, an OpenAI API key, etc. So this actually is multiple birds, one stone. One, whenever we decide on a new model, we want to use Grok, we want to use OpenAI, I don't need Sid to go and give me a key for OpenAI or for Grok, and I don't have to, each dev I bring on, I don't have to spin up a new key inside of Anthropic, inside of OpenAI, inside of Grok for that new dev. And then when that dev leaves, I have to cycle a key on each of those platforms. With gateways, we get one key from Vercel, we spin up one new key for a dev, and then that works across whatever model that they want. If a dev wants to experiment on a new model, they can try that model locally, and they don't have to get blocked by Sid getting a new key, setting up billing over there. Sid also is just managing billing and tracking of all those, how much usage in one place. Instead of having to jump across models, it's all in one place. So Sid gets to reduce where he's managing his billing and his API keys. I, for managing devs, only have to give a dev one single API key and rotate one single API key. for our end customers, hopefully this is hypothetical because we have not tried it yet. Hypothetically, rate limits in provider accounts, rate limits is stated right here in the first paragraph that we don't need to manage the rate limits anymore. And so in their first paragraph, they say that that is one of the things that should get resolved by us moving. That's the main error that we're hitting, that we're getting tracked 61 instances of per day. This should disappear once we migrate to V5 first, get on a gateway, rate limits go to 0, is the hypothesis. We should be able to stay on Anthropic and the rate limits just drop to 0 because we are now proxying through someone else that it's managing all that hassle of however they deal with Anthropic and their low rate limits. We don't have to worry about it because we're now going through Vercel, the top tier product for managing and hosting AI applications on the web. They get to deal with all that hassle of Anthropic and we get the benefits. That's what I'm assuming, is that the gateway is what we're looking for. This is the main key. And in order for us to use the gateway, we have to be on AI SDK V5. I've tried doing it on V4 and it doesn't work. You have to be on V5. So get on V5, update to a gateway. That should get rid of it. If it doesn't get rid of it, I think then it aligns our conversation with the price model usage. And then the question is, we need to switch models. If we're still getting Anthropic errors after we switch to a gateway, we need to at least offer a different model in some capacity. So whether it's a drop down and then when the error happens, they switch, that's not ideal because they're still hitting an error and the human has to know to switch the model. I don't like that one. Alternatively, we give a different model based off of whether or not they're paying. If you're not paying, you get Gemini 2.5 Flash because that is 100x lower costs. And so instead of paying $15 per output token, you're paying 10 cents per million output tokens. And so you're literally reducing our cost by an order of magnitude of 100 to 2 orders of magnitude. And so if you're seeing $900 per month right now, $90 per day, that's going to go down to 90 cents per day. Go down to 90 or 9,000 divided by 100 goes down to $9 per month. So orders of magnitude difference in terms of those pricing. And then if you're paying, sure, we give you a top tier model. We give you Anthropic. We give you Claude. We give you if we stay on the same one or if we rotate. If you're paying, we raise you up. Otherwise, we offer a lower tier model for all the free accounts. That allows us to keep it free and accessible for musicians across South America who don't want to and likely can't make a dent in the milestones we're trying to get to financially. But the music industry professionals, the people who want top tier service, who want a leg up on the people who are getting the free tier, this is something you unlock by paying us. If you're not happy or you want to know what it costs, you get this for free. You get this low Gemini model. It's Google. If you want the top tier model, you pay us. And that's one of the many things that you unlock by paying for one of the subscription tiers that gets you X amount of credits. In addition to the credits you get, you also unlock these models. And so that way it differentiates, like you were saying, you want a subscription model on top of the credits. Like you get X number of credits for free. You also only get Gemini. If you're paying us in the subscription model, you unlock X number of credits per month and you get access to any of the models that we offer. We could probably, off of those, I've yapped a little bit. I'll pause for your feedback because I know you've tried to jump in.
No, I agree 1,000%.
Do you have a thought on what is ideal? Assuming this does not fix our rate limit errors. All goes well, rate limit errors are fixed with Vercel, and then the only concern at that point is how much you're getting charged for Anthropic, and that's a whole different conversation. Let's assume Gateways does not fix this, and we do need to fix it because Gateways are not a solution. Which solution feels ideal for you that we implement?
If it doesn't fix it and we still get rate limits, my initial thought is switch to Gemini 2.5 Flash for everybody. Right now, everybody. Mm-hmm. Except create new artist. Because create new artist, that run is the magic aha moment for all new users. And it lets them experience what we can call autopilot, like YOLO mode. Similar to Cursor, how like Cursor, unless you turn on YOLO mode, it makes you accept next steps. You want to continue? Right. And like if Gemini was pushing us towards that, like that could be the general mode for all free users, but they can experience YOLO mode one shot all the way in that one chat. And then if they want to experience YOLO mode throughout the rest of the product, upgrade to the paid tier. And that's where you get the paid, you get all the extra, you get more credits, you get the better models, etc. But I really just love, I keep going back to like getting people to that aha moment and then making them crave it as they use the tool and make sure it's clear. But I think that's the best. It'll lower costs and it'll kill two birds with one stone. But again, that's if this doesn't work out.
Right. Worst case scenario, we're doing that. Best case scenario, it goes away and cool. So ideal marching orders on Monday. Well, today / over the weekend, I debug and fix why is the Q param failing to pick up the artist account ID while the normal chat does pick up that. If we fix that, so far you have not given me any other blocking changes, so we'll be green light for launch on Monday. We ship AI SDK on Monday. Tuesday, I check Supabase. Ideally, rate limit errors are at 0 on Tuesday. We go from 61 per day to 0 on Tuesday. If we're at 0, we then implement a gateway. If we are still at a non-zero, switching to V5, shipping V5 is not going to drop us to 0. We switch to V5 on Monday. Monday, we see if there's any breaking changes that other people find that we did not find in internal testing. Between Monday and Tuesday, hopefully we see those and it gets communicated to us somehow. I fixed those errors into Tuesday. Tuesday, I fixed any errors that we didn't catch. We switch to a gateway. Or maybe we just ignore the user errors and I focus. Monday, we ship. Monday, I get gateways out. And then the rest of the week is just monitoring the impact of that. So Monday, we ship AI SDK V5. Monday, I also ship gateway, which is a net new feature. I could get gateways in right now. That way we can test with gateways over the weekend.
Yes.
Because we already have that on a preview branch and we just wrap the gateways in with our V5 rollout on Monday. I hesitate because it makes the rollout bigger. And so there's higher likelihood of things breaking. But because we're doing it on a Monday, that gives me the whole week. Okay, we shipped a breaking change. I spend the whole week then fixing it instead of shipping it on a Friday. And then it ruins my weekend because I'm sitting there thinking, oh God, I shipped something that broke. Do I enjoy my weekend or do I go in and fix things? And everything I ship is going to be half baked. So you said yes. So I should, between now and Monday, top priority, get the Q param fixed. If I get the Q param fixed and you don't give me anything else, I'll get a gateway in here. That way we can start testing with a gateway. That way on Monday we launch. And then my main metric that I'm monitoring next week is number of errors. So I'm checking into the table. I'm checking what that is. And my goal is to get it as close to 0 as possible. From the number of 61 is our baseline that I'm measuring that off of. My ideal is 0. I'll measure how close I get to that goal coming into next week. What are your thoughts on I'm bringing this back to what we're doing next week. My success metric for a new feature. The new feature is V5 and gateways. The success metric that I'm measuring that off of is getting the number of errors inside of the error logs table to 0. Thoughts on that error metric for myself?
The number of errors for rate limits to 0.
Okay. More specific errors for rate limits.
Yeah, because we're not going to hit 0 errors. but yeah, errors rate limit 0. And then the other thing that you said something interesting, which was we just ship it and then see if people respond back with issues. And there's a part of me that wants to try that with Gemini because I know it removes the magic moment, but it reduces costs by 100.
100x cost reduction, which extends your runway of burn.
And there's like 3 or 4 power users that I would expect to hit me up to be like, hey, why is this slowing? Like, why is it different? Which is Eric, really Eric, but then like Sam, Steph, maybe a couple, but like he's the one that's like he's 3x using it. So if he doesn't hit me up and says what changed, why is this different? Why isn't it auto running? Then maybe Gemini is fine. and we can then ship a net new feature after Gemini, which is, YOLO mode. And we decide where YOLO mode gets implemented and what model we use for YOLO mode when it's on, But maybe we just ship like that way we lower our costs and reduce rate limits all in the same shipment, and then see if the squeaky if it's a squeaky enough wheel.
I love that you're leaning into further out on the risk curve instead of being more preventative and safe.
Because you had Gemini running, right? And you just said it just wasn't as.
Yeah, I didn't feel it was as high quality. But it might have been how I implemented it, because we were on V4. I might have had to tweak some more bolts in order to get it onto the same grade as what we saw with Anthropic.
True.
QPram, Gateway, Gemini. Goal: reduce rare errors for rate limits. We still have not talked about Veerball. How are we doing on time?
It's 2:55. I'm good. I have another 30 minutes.
Okay. In that case, let's briefly. So some of Veerball's shipments that I remember is that he added in these little Instagram icons. He changed it. He refactored it from segments to fan groups. He's been doing he got blocked on Apify, and he was helping us debug the Apify stuff. Question I wanted to throw to you on Apify is, you spent $1,000 on Apify, and that is a red flag and probably made you feel some type of way to have spent that money. Have you looked through what you spent it on and what came out as a result of spending that money? Have you dove into Apify and seen what actually got scraped and where that money went?
It all came from comments.
In terms of like which accounts got scraped, and was it one or two accounts that had a ton of comments? And was it from Sam or one of the power users? Did you specifically drill into that comment scraper and see what happened?
No. How would I do it?
Apify. Start off with a little buzzword once I get to the number showing. Apify changed their logo and it looks more professional.
Yay. Oh, fun. Look at that.
More inside of the box. And so far we have spent 17 on the new one. Switch over to Recoup. All right. This past month, we spent $1,000 using Apify to scrape Instagram comments and profiles. This is where that money went into. It's full. We can't use it anymore. Where it went into is we have two different actors. One is Instagram comment scraping, which charges us at $2.30 per 1,000 results. An Instagram profile scraper, which charges us at $2.30 per 1,000 results. How did you end up finding that it was
organization and billing?
And then inside of here, we break down into actors.
Yeah.
And so the comment scraper, we had 426,000 results, which came out to $900. And then we scraped 7,000 profiles, which came out to $18. So going back over to here, total runs, we actually ran the profile scraper more times. However, the comment scraper has way more results.
That's crazy.
And so here's where all that money went, is if you go into runs, you can then see the number of results that are in each run. This run was 54,000 results. This single run charged you $125. It looks like all of that funding came from the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 runs.
Can we see what
5 single runs that all happened on the 23rd of July, 2 days ago? So in one day, something happened, and let's see what the input was. These Instagram accounts. Let's see if we can find the post to figure out what artist was scraped for one of these. And so it's actually pretty well grouped together. This looks like Veerball. This is likely Veerball. This is likely Veerball going into testing for the largest artist in India. and then scraping his
And
posts.
everything.
And that was likely it, was Veerbal during testing the largest artist in India. And then when we put him on the goal of getting segments, in order to get segments, he had to test. And so he tested the largest artist in India. Oh, that's funny. We
Did he do it
forward this on to him.
Is it? Yeah, right.
Hey, Veerbal, we found out all this came from you testing. Is this another Indian? Yeah, this is the same artist, Diljit. Samir also tells me about this artist. He says he is incredibly popular. I think like the Bad Bunny of India.
I mean,
Or
I
the
think
Drake
this
of
is,
India.
I think this was a good a good experiment into like. I'm glad. I mean, I wish he didn't do it 5 times. I wish he would have realized on the first run how expensive it is. But to say like, okay, cool. If you have like an A-list artist, this is the cost it's gonna cost us. So we have to at least charge that in usage credits when they're using the product, and like let them decide if they want to do it. Make sure so that I don't. I mean, I would probably not do it like Apify or where it's they just auto do it, but like make sure they know like, hey, you're about to get charged X amount of money to do this. But I like the idea of, again, going back to usage based. Like if you're a label and you have an A-list artist and you need to scrape and you want to know everything about your, like, you can go ahead and do that. But for the majority of users, what are the limits, right? It's 100 comments. It's, showing them the magic in that initial create a new artist chat, and then letting them choose, do you want to tier up and get more data, or are you good with this? I had a call with Veerbal yesterday to go over segments. It was a good call. I think it cleared him up a little bit on like what the value of segments to users. And so I'm curious on if we should give him another week with segments. I mean, we probably should, because it's not done yet. Now that he knows, one, like we can put limits into, like, now that he knows. My issue with this is there's a couple things from there's 3 customers that 3 power users that I talked to that requested features that are all right now in the backlog waiting for us to prioritize those features. And so my question is, should we add any of those to Veerbal's tickets next week, or should we continue to just let him focus on segments and the other thing that he was supposed to do, which was what, like just kind of review the entire app flow?
Did you get that document, or did he only send it to me?
I think he only sent it to you.
Let me see. He sent me a Notion in Veerbal. What can we reach July 14th? Thank you for the details. Yada yada. Where did he send it? Instead of in Veerbal, let me just search everywhere. Just search Notion.
I saw the Notion for his segments Notion, but I didn't. If that's when you're referring to.
Where did he send that?
I think it in the shared with all of us, or you dropped it in the shared with all of us.
I don't remember reposting it anywhere because I had not read it. Mimi Veerbal, we spent money.
It might be there.
Monday. Yes. He sent it on Monday. This is what I was thinking of. Did you read over this?
I did.
Was this accurate?
It was close, half accurate, half not. I wrote some of my comments to him.
Interesting. He doesn't like the collapsing. Segments is too technical. What are your thoughts on him renaming segments to fan groups?
I don't mind him renaming it to fans if we remove the word groups, and then just includes fan, like the segments in like that homepage. And then, yeah, he did that, which is cool. I don't mind that. The thing that I didn't agree with was this. I just want to create one segment group for blank. But actually, let me rephrase this. When I talked to him yesterday, my main thing was like making sure that we are the algorithm that we're pulling segments from is pulling enough data from the fan profiles to create actually interesting segments. So like pulling enough metadata and storing them per fan so that if a user did want to say, I need to create a segment for sports betting fans, instead of us again scraping every time, we can go like to their segments that they already or their fans that they already scraped and pull them if there's metadata attached to that fan.
We're missing a lot of social data in the socials table. We're missing a lot. That's not what's running up our billing. I agree, we should be using that more to get accurate full fan data. So that way our segments are more verbose, more robust.
Exactly.
I wrote that one down. What else do you hope to achieve with Veerball staying on segments for another week? We hit the goal of number of humans with scheduled segment actions. What else do we have another goal that we want to set, or is it?
So can you go to prod real quick and go to an artist that doesn't have segments and click fan groups? Okay, current in prod, there is a button that says create fan groups that users click and it does nothing.
If you don't have the items in here, it does nothing, correct? If you do have all these items, it will work. But so you would like the button removed unless all these items are checked?
Yes. I'm trying to think what's the best lift for all users. For me, it's confusing because I was clicking the button and not sure. Like it kept saying fan segments generated.
Yeah, nothing was there, right?
And nothing happened. So like if users are clicking it, I don't know if it's if they're getting confused. I don't know how many people are clicking it, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess my question mark is like for Verball is like one, like how can we make it as easy as possible for the user to not be confused? That's a bad way to put it. How can we make the user not confused? The first thing I'm thinking of just like removing the fan groups if they don't have any until we figure out segments and the algorithm and how we're doing it. That way, like nobody's trying to click buttons that don't work. Thoughts on that?
That will reduce friction from people not having it. It also, yeah, that's one way to get rid of it.
And that way, if they have it, it's still there.
Lift. It's definitely a low lift. We just one Supabase query. Do they have is segments greater than 0? If yes, show the button. If no, hide the button.
Yeah, at least
How
in
do they generate segments? They would then go to a chat and then they would need to know to enter it. Right now, they get the hint here, and if they don't have any, they get a checklist. And this button could change to connect my Instagram, find my posts, find my comments, and clicking on the button does the things automatically.
I like where you're, okay. I like where your head's at. The second option, first option, remove this if they don't have. Second option is click that button that opens a QPram chat with the agent prompt that in order to scrape.
Right. And we could just do your idea and remove the button, remove this altogether, and then add the queue into an agent over here. It requires a little bit more looking.
I think we should, if we're going to have a button like that does it, like we put that shit on the homepage, front and center, like
on the homepage. So follow your idea of hide fan groups, and then change one of these homepage things to be create segments.
Yeah. I and then run that prompt. I like that. And then that means you only have to add the long prompt to the template agents Superbase table.
Is this reading from that table?
Yes.
This is?
Yeah.
Okay. Then yeah. What's the query you're using here to pull these from that table?
I have no idea.
This is the downside of vibe coding, is you ask the person who implemented it, how does this work? And they say, I have no idea.
Yeah. If I had a Cluey, then I got to answer that question.
Maybe. Why don't you have Cluey?
If I had a cursor up, I could answer that question.
Okay. All right. So we want Veerball to fill in missing fan social data, so that way the segments that are being generated are more accurate. And we would also like him to work on the buttons both on the left and a homepage button. So nav bar and homepage.
I think there's an API for an agent templates API. And the query is, now you got me thinking.
What is it? API agents?
Agent templates.
Is it a get? It is a get.
There it is.
So this gets all of them, but then how are you getting the ones that are shown on the homepage?
Because they're the same ones. The 3 ones on the homepage are also on the agents tab. They're just the featured ones on the homepage. I think there's they're all here.
So what are you doing? Matching by ID? Or you don't know how you're filtering it on the homepage?
Yeah,
I'm selecting them.
Yeah, by ID.
You've hard coded the ID into the front end?
Yeah.
Are you saying yes just to keep us going, or yes because you actually know that's how it works?
I'm like 34% active.
This is what it looks like to vibe code in production. Everybody that's watching this, just know that if you're thinking about vibe coding, you are stepping into the shoes of Sid.
Let's do it. Let's go, everybody. Okay, so
Veerball side, what is the metric that we're measuring him on? Success metrics for the new feature. Veerball missing fan social data, segment button to add the nav bar and onto the homepage. What's the metric that we're going to know if his changes are successful or not?
How many people generated segments? How many
And we're going to ask him to come up with the number?
Yeah. And also show him the difference.
Number of humans or number of total actions? Are we measuring both numbers or only one? I had originally wanted to measure both. We hit the number of humans. We did not hit the number of actions. Which number is more important to you?
Humans.
Number of unique humans?
Yeah. Also, can you ask him to remove the gigantic arrow on the homepage pointing to connect your YouTube? Because I don't
like that.
I think it proved that even having a giant arrow telling people to connect their YouTube, they still didn't, and I had to handhold them on calls or push marketing material to them to do it. I also think that a part of it was because of the Google error, but basically, like, remove the one pointing to YouTube, and if he's going to create a new card, make that the highlight this week. Like, now connect your segments. Like, if each week that homepage updates with like a brand new feature, click this button here to do it.
I like it.
And then the other question is keeping him on segments. The other one, Steph's feature request, 2 feature requests. One was make YouTube awesome. Right now it works. In order to make YouTube awesome, she needs to be able to connect from both her user level, and her own account gets a token, so then we can connect all of the artists. I think that was your original plan. And then the other version, which is each artist gets a token. I don't want to get too far down that rabbit hole, so we'll pause that. You can watch the video once you have some time, and he can watch the video once he has some time, and we can slot it in. The next feature that Steph asked for was TikTok for artists. TikTok just released TikTok for artists. And so that was another feature she asked for. Specifically, she was like, if I could get notified by Recoup every time my song gets 100 creates a day or 10 creates a day, depending on the artist, like that would be huge for me. And so that was one of her requests. And then she showed me how she's currently doing it, which is going into TikTok artists, but it really doesn't filter correctly, et cetera, et cetera. That's all part of the video. That feels like a bigger 1 week lift of just like integrating the provider of TikTok for artists. The second power user request was from Sam to enable his account
Oh, I lost it.
There I am.
You okay?
Yeah. Where was I? Sam is asking, how can Recoup use his Chartmetric API to improve his report generation for his artists? I don't know if that's it sounds like a simpler lift of what enabling artists or specific users or specific orgs. I'll say specific users to have APIs in their account. But then it sounds like it's also becomes like connecting a provider, a tool provider for Chartmetric.
Correct.
Okay, so that means
so which one is going to help you reach your goal of an enterprise customer at 5K per month? Adding in TikTok client, log in with TikTok, basic tool set to start getting on par with where YouTube's at, potentially without the warning, because TikTok does not, I don't think they have that verification process, or doing the same thing for Chartmetric. Which one is going to get you closer or higher confidence to your goal of one enterprise customer at 5K per month by the end of this quarter?
Ooh, that's a good one. TikTok and Chartmetric were both high requests from both people. I'm going to say Chartmetric because it's a very specific thing we can do, and I can implement that report generation and workflow. And there's more clarity on what the end deliverable will be. So I'm going to say Chartmetric API. But again, it's Chartmetric tool, and then on top of it layered is like I can create a Recoup Chartmetric API, but if a user wants to use their own, so we're not paying for the Chartmetric thing. That's the other additional layer of the infrastructure.
Do you have Chartmetric API that you would like us to be plugging into, or is the goal to do it like YouTube, where if they want to use the tool set, they have to OAuth / give us a key?
Let's start with
what's the value they're going to get out of using our Chartmetric API. Is all the value in Chartmetric coming from their specific account, or is it something where we can use our account? Like in Spotify, we can use our API key and get data across any artist, so we don't need them to sign it.
The added value is that it lowers our cost, because if they're using
by having them connect.
Yeah, if they have an API key and they're using it, it lowers our cost dramatically. We don't have to, like, Chartmetric pays for every pull, so we would be paying, or like every 1,000 plays. So I think starting with letting them use their own key is the best infrastructure, and we can always backtrack from there and add our own key and like limit it so that, like, you pull X amount of data and then you have to pay for more or whatever on usage.
So all right, cool. Focusing on number of humans with segment actions, increasing that number to whatever he decides. My goal is to decrease rate limit errors from 61 down to 0. We're good on my side. Your side, goals next week?
Goals next week are to get the 3 people that I had calls with into the leaderboard. Obviously, I'm going to push that to the 5 people because I had 2 calls last week and they've all been on vacation. So 5 new people on the leaderboard from the calls that I got. And I'm going to say top.
Who are they specifically?
24 management, 30 Tigers, Rostrum Pacific, Filterless, and Peanut Butter Friends.
Peanut Butter Friends. 24 management, 30 Tigers, Rostrum, Filterless, and Peanut Butter Friends.
Those are the
Get
5
them into the leaderboard.
Correct.
Leaderboard means when I go to the conversations tab, they show up in the list of the top 10.
Correct.
Do you have any thoughts on how you will achieve that goal? I think the goal is very concrete, quantifiable, and we can see the result. I'm curious if you've thought through how you'll implement it yet.
Gorilla, baby. I'm going to be emailing them every fucking hour, videos, and yeah, I'm just going to do the groundwork of
shooting from the hip, boots on the ground.
Things that don't scale. Or actually, I will say this, though. If you can add one more thing to Veerball as just the bug of when I send a URL, auto select that artist, because that is preventing me from sending people emails with URLs to try. So it's a blocker for me to get people using the tool. I can easily be like, hey, I created this awesome agent run for this artist. Click this button to try it and send it to the users. And so I just want to make sure if they click that button, it opens up the correct artist and actually runs it,
Copy. Added to the list.
Sweet. All right, dude. It has been a long hour and a half. But
thank you, everybody, for tuning in. If you stuck around for the full hour and a half, make sure you like, subscribe, leave a comment down below of what was your favorite part, or if you're using the product, what you want to see. If you have not already tried the product, go to chat.recoupable.com to get started managing your artist career on auto.